Hi guys, this is Daniel Alexander Cannon here on the Supernatural Show. The show that is not just for entertainment purposes only. Today we're going to take a look. I see y'all guys in the chat. Hello everybody. We're going to take a look at the situation, or one of the situations, with the Olympics and some of the surrounding things. The reason why they're doing this might be obvious, but there's a little bit deeper meaning behind it. And we're going to talk about that. And I'm also going to maybe make a little prediction, you might say, as to something that is very likely or possible that's going to happen during the Olympics. Okay. And I've also got, y'all guys are going to have to let me know. I just finally got both of my systems working again here, and you're going to have to let me know if, when you're looking at this image here of the chat, that is the Logic Before Authority channel chat. I can't put both of them on the screen at the same time, or at least not at the moment anyways. Y'all guys will have to let me know if you're seeing it correctly or if it's backwards, because it looks correct on my side, but I've done this before, and the chat to y'all guys looked backwards, was, flipped backwards. So if it's still not fixed, we'll get it taken care of. Now, most of you have heard, and I haven't spoken about it yet, and most of the time when these things happen, I don't just jump right on the day of and try to look and just make a knee-jerk reaction as to what's going on with these matters, because yeah, you'll get more views and you'll get more people, really just more views. There's no real advantage other than more views of going out with a story like this immediately. Sounds like maybe the chat is working. Visionary Vet says it's good, and Criterion says correct, meaning y'all guys can see it correctly and okay. And that chat looks good. Strange Skies 1111 says, thank you very much there. There's your comment there too as well. I appreciate that. All right, so we all know, let me show you the image I'm talking about. And I'm sure you're familiar with it. It's this. So what do we see here? Let's look at a few things. Okay. Obviously, we see a stage type setting with you might say, a meal prepared in front of it. And Some have said that this is a depiction of some other things, which I'm going to show you a couple of other things, but we're going to talk about this image to start with. It has this female in the middle, and she has a halo on top of her head, basically, or the symbolism of a halo, which would be meaning that she's like a Christ figure, which of course she is not. She's a blasphemous image, just like everyone in this. This is like the reasons why God chose to act and destroy the world previously many times is just because of this kind of arrogance. These people chose to be part of this and participate in something like this, and so they're guilty. And this is why God has chosen to destroy the world numerous times, destroy humanity, because as a whole, the human population as a whole, not complete whole, of course, but as the large amount of is, there's a lot of sin in this world and a lot of pride. You know, these people, their whole thing is the pride flag, which is the rainbow flag, which is the covenant God made with man the last time people started acting like this. And if you don't think they meant this to be just what it looks like, or it obviously is, there's a particular character here. I'm not going to point it out, but it's a male. And he literally has his testicle hanging out of his shorts in this image. And, it's just not good. You've got the dinner plate here with a cup turned upside down, depending on how you want to show it. But it's basically showing that this guy is the meal, and he's a Greek, what they call a Greek god, which is called Dionysus. And he is the god of wine, basically. And all these gods, like this one here that they call a god, and they've got him colored and everything, it's all related to, you see, when you go back to the original gods, okay, when you go back to the original, what did we have? We had Satan and his fallen angels, right? And that, if you go from there and you go to Egypt, what do we have there? We have like Set and all the other characters, you might say, the deities as they called them. It's the same group of deities. It's Satan and the fallen angels. When you come, whether you go forward or back in time, or no matter what culture you look at, they'll have the same set of deities or beings or whatever you want to call them, evil spirits. And in a situation like this, they just dress them up. It looks ridiculous, and it is ridiculous, but they just change the look of the so-called deity, but it's ultimately the same thing. These are depictions of the fallen angels, and whether it be in Egypt, whether it be in biblical times, whether it be whenever, it's all the same deities. They just give them different names. They change their looks a little bit. They make them look glorified in various things, although there's nothing glorified looking about anything in this image. I mean, if I were to show you another one like this is called the Feast of the Gods. And of course, you got Pan here, and you got Apollo, and you got numerous gods here, Greek gods. These are what they are. If you think about the fallen angels and what the fallen angels have the capability of doing, They had different capabilities and different things they trained and taught to humans back in the day. Now, what are these gods these days when they talk about Greek gods and all this? They have different attributes. They're good at, say, they're the god of wine or the god of fertility or the god of this or that. It's all the same story, just the names have changed to protect the guilty, basically. And supposedly they're trying to claim that this image here is what they base their, it's called the Feast of the Gods. And here you have another one with like a halo looking glowing area around his head. It's all mockery. This painting itself is mockery of the Last Supper. Same thing with this here. Okay, here, this is another painting. And I'll have to say, honestly, the skill of the painter that paints these things is quite good. Obviously, they've got great skills. The only thing is that they're painting things that are blasphemous. I've got a couple of other ones here that I can pull up to, like this one. This one is another different painting of what they call the Feast of the Gods, which is what they're saying, the Olympic thing. But what it is, it's again all mockery of the true God and Christ and the Last Supper. You see, you got Pan and Apollo and Jupiter and just all these same characters again with a little different name. They're all depictions of the attributes of the fallen angels, and they make them look more human and attractive and all these things, but it's just deception. That's all it is. And here is one more. And of course, they love their nudity. But this is just another depiction of the same kind of thing. Just continued blasphemy over the generations, over the centuries, is all it is. Now, like I said, I got a little prediction for you when it comes to the Olympics that we're going to get to in a little bit. If I can still, oh boy, I might, yeah, I can still do it because I've got that other window where I have the chat at. I can show it through there. I just realized I haven't set up my phone where I can get my images on here, because I have some images on my phone that I want to show you that's related to the prediction when it comes to the Olympics. But first, what we want to do is I wanted to go to the Word of God. And I want to talk about what they're doing with this imagery, particularly this one here. See how this is all about the LGBTQRSTUYZ or whatever it is, of all this so-called diversity of people and humans and stuff. Yet we all know that when it comes to humans, you have male and you have female, naturally anyways. But they want us to believe that they can believe they are whatever they want to be. They can change their things. They can dress and act like, I don't even want to say the words. And we're supposed to just accept them because it's all about love. And that is related to a lot of what the teachings that Christ was making around this time in the Bible, where it talks about the Passover with the disciples or the Last Supper. And I wanted to read a few of these with you and kind of just go through a little bit of it and just talk about a few things. I'm going to start out in Mark 14:12, and it says, And the first day, let me make sure y'all guys can see this. Yeah. And the first day of unleavened bread, and we're going to talk about unleavened bread so that you understand. I know most of you understand, probably most of you understand, it means that this does not have, I'm slipping my mind on the word, does not have, well, what is it? The stuff you put in bread to make it rise. What's the word? Yeast. Okay. It does not have yeast in it. Thank you, darling. But I want to explain that a little more in depth. But let's read this first. And the first day of unleavened bread, when they killed the Passover, his disciples said unto him, Where wilt thou go? Where wilt thou that we go and prepare that thou mayest eat the Passover? Okay. And of course, this is called the Last Supper. Okay. In a way, the last Passover, because what Christ did by going on the cross changed a lot of things, changed all the need for sacrifice and all these things that they still continue to do, but they're sacrificing things to Satan, is when they're doing at the Olympics right now. 14:13. And he sendeth forth two of his disciples, and saith unto them, Go ye into the city, and there shall meet you a man bearing a pitcher of water. Follow him. And wheresoever he shall go in, say ye to the good man of the house, the master saith, Where is the guest chamber, where I shall eat the Passover with my disciples? And he will show you a large upper room, furnished and prepared. There make ready for us. And so it talks about, well, let me go ahead and just read a little bit more. And his disciples went forth and came into the city, and found as had said unto them, and they made ready the Passover. And in the evening he cometh with the 12. And as they sat and did eat, Jesus said, Verily I say unto you, one of you which eateth with me shall betray me. Okay. Coming back up here, let's look at a few things, okay? Some of the teachings around this, let's see if I've got it right here, or it might be in the other book. I think it's in the other book. Okay. Matthew, I think, or either Luke. I think it's Luke, where Jesus talks to them and washes their feet. And he's talking about that the servant or the master is no greater than the servant. And all these things he's teaching about love. And when I was reading through it, I couldn't help but notice how all this love thing gets twisted. See, love has nothing to do with accepting anything and everything that someone wants to be. Okay. You know who I'm talking about. The people these days that are just, they've allowed themselves to be destroyed, or it's come upon them through a generational curse or something, where man thinks he's woman, woman thinks he's man, or man just wants to be a woman, or mix of 20 different other things, and men having sex with men and women and everything going on. That has nothing to do with love. Okay. True love is something separate than sex, okay, or intercourse or relations, or whatever the word is you want to use when it comes to that thing. You know, we're talking about procreation, you know, bringing a new human, spreading our seed and growing our seed in this world. And none of that that's not love when you accept people for being the way they're displaying them in any of those paintings. It's all blasphemy. It's all debauchery. It's just gross, and it's not something you want to have anything to do with. You do not want to spend time with these kind of people. You don't want to break bread with these kind of people. Now, there are people that have been through maybe no fault of their own. When they were a child, they might have had a snake bite put in their arm without their acknowledgement because they were a child, and it altered their DNA. And they've chosen, because they know they still have morals, and they know that they're not supposed to go out and a man sleep with a man or a woman with a woman. And they rebuke those things. And when they do that, that person that is trying to walk the narrow path, even though they've been damaged, because all of us, whether you realize it or not, have been damaged in some way or another by this world. I've been damaged, and I can describe the ways that I've been damaged. And I mean even physically damaged. Because I was young, and they gave me vaccinations and everything too. And my son is damaged, and most of all of us are damaged. And it wasn't with our consent, because we didn't know what they were doing, because most of the time we were just children, and we got damaged. So the point is talking about the LGBTQ and all that kind of community, that has nothing to do with love. What that has to do with is with rebellion and pride. If you've been damaged and you feel like you're a man trapped in a woman's body, you know that's not the truth. You know that it's because you've been damaged. You've been hurt by the beast system, basically. And you can rebuke that, and you can still be saved and not go to hell, basically. But if you choose to covet this pride thing and this rebellion thing of the rainbow flag and all this, if you go down that path, it ain't going to turn out good for you. So if there's anybody listening that is in that boat right now, understand that God still loves you, and he knows that you didn't choose for that to happen to you. And he knows that if you'll repent of the things that you've done and turn back to him, he'll accept you into his house. You understand? Father will allow you to come home. He loves you no matter what, and he'll allow you to come home. So let's look a little further here. We're talking about the first day of unleavened bread. Unleavened bread with yeast. I want to show you something about that. This is kind of about sin. How yeast spreads within bread is an example of how sin and man's laws will corrupt what was good or could be good and what could be pure. The image you're looking at here is a picture of yeast. Well, that's a little too close. A picture of yeast that has infected just a little bit of flour and water. Okay. There was one spore put on this, and that one spore, because yeast, if you're not aware, is a fungus. And there's naturally occurring yeast in our bodies and all around the world. But when it comes to the teaching that's trying to be taught here, is that if you allow or you participate with any part of this sin, okay, this LGBTQ whatever pride thing, You're making a covenant with the devil, and you're allowing this stuff in. And if you allow one spore of yeast into the flour and the water, it will infect the entire loaf. It may take a little longer than if you add more yeast. Like if you wanted to make bread, you would add more than one spore. Or you could add one spore and you could wait a day, and then you would have this completely infected flour and water. What was pure, one thing, is now no longer pure. And no matter what you can do, if you allow these things in your life, it will infect you completely. And what do we have here? They're completely infected with sin. All of them. Now, the case of the children here, the children are innocent until a certain age, and that's for God to decide what that is. But these other ones here, they're guilty. And I would imagine none of them will ever see this. But if they did, I would ask them and tell them that they can still turn from this. You're going to find nothing out of this that is going to bring reward into your life or righteousness into your life. It will never do nothing but destroy you. There is no good to come out of wallowing in filth. There's no good that comes out of it. Real quick, guys, I want to say that my normal co-host, Shannon, she's just unavailable today. She's doing some work. And Dan, that's on here quite often, my advisor, he's just tied up babysitting today. Okay, so he's not available. But I send my love out to them, and I send my love out to all of you, as a matter of fact. Even these people here, even though I could not spend any time with them, I send my love to them. I want them to do better. I want them to be well. And I don't want them to go to hell. I don't want them to be damned. And they can still turn, and even you can still turn if you're listening to this and you know that you're involved with these kind of people, or you're going to these kind of parties, these kind of get-togethers where this kind of behavior is accepted. And if you're going there and hanging out, you're accepting it. You can't dance with the devil and be with God. You know, there's none of us probably that are truly pure, including myself. I know I'm not. But I do know that we cannot go waller and manure and expect to get up and not stink. Because you're going to stink. It's just the way it works, right? So let's see here. I had, let me pull up, hold on just a second, guys. I wanted to pull, let's see, this is Mark. Let's go to Matthew real quick. I'm looking for a particular set of verses that I wanted to read. Well, let's read this here. It's appropriate too. This is Matthew 26:26. And as they were eating, Jesus took bread and blessed it and brake it and gave it to the disciples and said, "Take, eat. This is my body." So you can see from this the mockery in this. They have this God, this deity, which is no more than the image of a fallen angel with just the image changed. And what is for dinner tonight? Why, it's him. And what is he eating? He's got bread on his plate. It's like a little cake or bread of some kind of bread. And is it risen? Yes, it is. You can see that it's not unleavened bread in that image right there. So they're making mockery of that. And he says, 26:27 says, and he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, drink ye all of it, for this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. 26:29, but I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until the day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. Okay. And I really wanted to find this other thing that was specific. I should have made. Well, I did want to cover this. This is Luke 22:10. He said, and it says, and he said unto them, behold, when ye are entered into the city, there shall be a man to meet you bearing a pitcher of water. There was a time when I thought, okay, well, that's obviously Aquarius. Oh, excuse me, not Aquarius. Not Aquarius, but actually, see, I have the imagery here. Excuse me, it is Aquarius. What am I thinking? Aquarius. So, because of the ages, the turn of the ages. But then I thought, well, I don't think, because the Bible kind of talks about you're not supposed to be studying exactly certain things when it comes to the stars, but yet the Bible does make reference to a lot of these things. Let's see if I can find the one. Let's see, what did I do with it? Did I save it here? I don't have nobody else in the room with me today. I feel all alone, except for Miss Kim's here with me, helping me out in the background in the comments and stuff. Let's see here. Bear with me for a second, guys. I'm trying to find something that I may not have on this computer. Put it this way. There are many verses. Matter of fact, I think I might have some of it right here. Yeah. Okay. Like Job 9:19. Let me just pull that up. Job 9:19. Okay. It says, if I speak of strength, lo, he is strong. And if of judgment, who shall set me a time to plead? Wait a minute, this don't sound right. Oh, excuse me. It's 9:9. Okay, here we go. Right here. It says, not Job 9:9, which maketh, maybe I should go back up to the previous verse, a couple of previous verses. Okay. 9:6, Job 9:6, which shaketh the earth out of her place, and the pillars thereof tremble, which commandeth the sun, and it riseth not, and sealeth up the stars, which alone spreadeth out the heavens, and treadeth upon the waves of the sea, which maketh Arcturus, and Orion, and the Pleiades, and the chambers of the south. So what I'm saying here is, the Bible does make reference to constellations in the heavens in a number of places. It also makes reference in Amos 5:8. Let's go to Amos 5:8 and take a look at that. Amos 5:8. Amos, there you are. Amos 5:8. Yeah. Okay. Amos 5:8 says, Amos 5:8 says, "Seek him that maketh the seven stars and Orion, and turneth the shadow of death into the morning, and maketh the day dark with night, that calleth for the waters of the sea, and poureth them upon the face of the earth. The Lord is his name." So obviously it's just talking about the fact that Father controls and created and has everything run perfect, right? But it makes reference to the Pleiades, the seven stars, the Orion, and a number of other ones, as a matter of fact, like Job 38:31 through 32 speaks about it as well, because I wasn't so sure that I should even be mentioning the fact that Aquarius, which is, let me show you this. Aquarius, here's Aquarius. This is today's date, okay? Today's date, and this is sunrise. It's set at sunrise. So if we look during sunrise, okay, there is, if I got it set right, yeah, at 6 a.m. at sunrise, you've got Capricornus, Aquarius, you've got the Phoenix, the Scepter, you've got Ketus, and Pisces. If you remember the eclipse on April 8th, it was here off of the back of Ketus, which is the dragon, the sea dragon, the whale, different interpretations for what it means. But the eclipse, it followed the string of Pisces, this line of Pisces. It followed this down coming this way, which straight ahead of that, of course, is Aquarius. I found that interesting that the eclipse was moving down towards Aquarius, because the Bible does make mention of looking for the man with the pail of water in the upper house, and these are all terms that are related to Aquarius. And you also notice that there's Aquila right here, and why that's kind of interesting is because of the animated video from 2013 called I Pet Goat 2, and the ending scene where the sun is rising, okay, Aquila can be seen with the sun rising, or it could be interpreted as that it is setting, which if you depending on the way you look at that scene, I guess you could say, but it appears to me it's actually a rising. But I find it interesting that the main thing I guess I'm finding interesting is about how it's written into the Bible about looking for this sign and following it as a sign as that Christ will be returning. And of course there are many other signs. The olive tree is ripe and full, isn't it? All right, let's see what else we got here. Let me check the comments since I don't have anybody in studio to talk with today. I'll see what y'all guys are talking about here for a minute. Let's see. Yeah, please do like and share, because it does matter. You see these videos, because I'm shadow banned. You don't know what that is if you've never been a creator. But when it comes to certain platforms like YouTube and Facebook specifically, nobody ever sees these videos unless you share the video. They're not going to do it. I can look at my analytics in my what's called your YouTube studio, and it shows they're not sharing it with anybody. They're not putting it up for people to just find and see. I used to put out videos before they implemented shadow banning and stuff, and I'd get between 50. On average, every single video I would do, I would get 50,000 people to watch that video. And then some videos would go up into the millions, say 2 to 10 million, that kind of thing, quite often with videos. But now the only way the word is going to get spread is if the body of Christ spreads it. So if y'all guys don't spread it, no one else is going to see it. It's just the way it is. Let's go back here still. It says, NY Debs says, is that the age of Aquarius we entered? And I would say this. We were supposed to know when the end of the age was by looking for the man with the pail of water. And from what I understand, it's all about the position of Aquarius during sunrise and sunset. And Aquarius is at the horizon line during sunrise and sunset. So I would say that we're probably about there, but even without that sign, we've had so many other signs to let us know that we're there. The olives are ripe on the tree, and the grapes are ready for the wine press, and the wheat is being harvested, and it's being thrashed. But yet, the beginning is still where we're at. We've still got a lot of thrashing to go through, and that's why you're going to have to be very smart. Stay away from all these things, these debaucheries and all this blasphemous stuff. Just stay away from it. Stay home. There's not much that you can find righteous to do in the big city, you might say, or even in the small cities. Every store you walk in, they've got diversity, you might say, running the cash register, serving the food. And what they've done, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but what they've done is they've got a $10,000 tax credit the federal government is giving businesses in order to hire somebody that is like gay or transsexual or any of those alphabet group of people that are openly kind of flaming, if you know what I'm saying. And it's interesting why they call it flaming, don't you? Because it might be kind of a prediction of the future. But the federal government gives $10,000 tax credit. So if they hire somebody for a job that pays $25,000, just for hiring them, they've got a $10,000 tax credit they get for hiring that person. So the regular guy, like maybe me or you or whoever, right, walks in that same place to get that job, you're not going to get it because it's going to cost them $10,000 extra in tax credit to hire you, where they can hire the other person. You see, this is how one of the methods they're using to push this in our face, because they want us to see that the news guy that's doing the weatherman is one of these people, right? Let me see. The weatherman is one of these people. They want us to see that the news anchor, and they want us to see that the guy that's running the game show is just everywhere. The restaurants, the hotel staff, everything. This is who they're focusing on making great, you might say, is this type of behavior, this type of person that's choosing this lifestyle, because they want it pushed in our faces so that we feel like there's no escape from it, you see. But it's not a fair example of what's truly going on in this world. there's not that many truly of these people. However, there's a lot more than there was because they're glorifying it. They're making it like it's the cool thing to do. I mean, they've pushed it so much, and now they're giving tax credits so they can get a job when you can't. You know, it's insanity of what they're doing. So I'd remember, don't allow even one spore of this in your life, because if you do, it destroys the entire loaf or rather infects it. Okay? So just don't allow this stuff in your life. All right, let's see here. Look at the comments again, see what y'all guys are saying over here. Let's see here. Age of Aquarius will be an event. Yeah. Yeah. The Fifth Dimension, the Age of Aquarius, that's a song, I believe, right? That I've looked up and heard. Miss Honeybee says she's dealing with black mold. Well, you got to get rid of what black mold eats. That's like if you've got parasites in your body like cancer, you have to get rid of what cancer eats. Cancer likes sugar. It likes anything, likes carbohydrates. It likes bread. Like you shouldn't be eating this bread, you know, especially if it has, put it this way, unleavened bread is better to eat than bread that has been risen like this. Because what happens is that when it gets infected like this with the spore, what it does is it turns the molecules of the bread flour into sugar molecules, and it makes the bread not good for you, or at least not as good for you. This kind of bread, if you don't believe, look up what I'm talking about. But yeah, you get rid of the root problem is what you do. Let's see here. I appreciate y'all guys being here today. I send my love to all of you out there. Let me see if I can pull up what I wanted to pull up and show you on my phone. A little prediction thing that I mentioned. Let me see here if I've got it. I think so. Yeah. Okay. All right. I was meditating in bed. Something I do when I lay there, normally in the morning times when I wake up and I'm not getting up yet, I'll lay there and think. And the Holy Spirit said to me, and I was thinking about the Olympics and stuff, and I started like seeing the word fire and images related to that, right? So let me switch back to view here so you can see what I'm looking at here. Let me go full screen with this so you can see it better. Okay. So take a look at this image here. It says, sizzling in sink, cook and bacon clinch Paris spots, right? Okay, no big deal. Let's go up here. So where's that here? Okay, here we go. Here is France closes Paris Olympics Media Center due to explosion risk. Here's another article. It says I just looked these up today. It says, you guys are bums. Coach post-match explosion that expired boomers to Olympic bronze. See, these are all words that are being coded into their Olympic coverage, things that have to do with an explosion, okay, or fire. It says, explosion that inspired boomers to Olympic bronze. There's a couple of more. It says, Kathleen's time is coming, question mark. 52-year-old coach warns fans of massive explosion. Okay. Of course, they're talking about a massive explosion of excitement or something like that, but it's not what they're talking about. They're talking about something else. And of course, if you remember back about 20 years ago, there was a so-called attack at the Atlanta Olympics, right? The Summer Olympics in Atlanta. And what there at the bottom says, mayor and explosion. I mean, how ridiculous is this? Let me open this one up. It says mayor. This is the name of two horses. Mayor and explosion soared to Olympic gold. Just a coincidence, right? And of course, this is the one I was just reading just a minute ago. Coach warns fans of massive explosion. And they know that most people aren't looking any further in front of their eyes than their nose, that they won't see this or understand any correlation of what's going on. This one was airport at French-Swiss border evacuated after bomb threat. This was just a day or two ago. All tied to the Olympics. Paris Olympics. Palestinian boxer wears shirt depicting bombed children in Gaza. Okay. And of course, if something goes on there at the Olympics, some kind of an explosion or a big fire or whatever, they're going to say who did it. You know, the ones they always say did it, right? When they're the ones doing it. They ain't nobody gonna kill a bunch of people for no good reason. That kind of stuff just does not happen naturally in this world. If it does, it's extremely rare. But they do this stuff because they want to hold us in a place of fear. Okay. All right, let's see what's next. Said, who was behind the arson attacks on the railroads or railways before the Olympics? They had about 4 or 5 different railways that got set on fire. French police locked down area after terrifying soccer bomb scare during Paris Olympics. You see, they just keep hitting at this kind of stuff, and they'll code it in the names of a horse or the names of a basketball player or a diver. You know, here's NYPD bomb sniffing dogs deployed to Paris for Olympics. See, they're sending the bomb sniffing dogs when they ain't nobody gonna plant no bombs but them. Israeli flag bearer at Paris Olympics signs bombs targeting civilians in Gaza. You see. So again, what they're doing is they're telling you kind of what they might do. Bomb, fire, and who they're going to blame it on. You see? Because they know when this all happens, they'll say, oh yeah, I seen that coming. Just like with the whole Trump thing, right? Everybody said, oh, I knew they were going to do that. Yet I was the one 10 years ago saying, or maybe 9, saying they're going to do that. And I'm saying right now, they're not done doing that. The whole enough is enough bang bang thing with Thump Man, Mr. T. Yeah, they're not done. Here's another one that says ISIS makes chilling threat to bomb opening ceremony of Paris Olympics. It says ISIS has published a menacing image online suggesting the use of drones as potential bomb delivery systems for an attack on the Paris Olympics. Okay, and I have the image here, I believe. Yeah. So they're showing showing Paris with a drone and with a package that says gift. So they got the whole setup going there in case they decide to move ahead with that plan, because I think it's in the cards right now. And being where it's located at and all the things that have been going on, it would probably be not just a single kind of thing. It would probably be multiple things that go really wrong at the same time in that area of Paris. Okay. So that's my prediction of what very possibly might happen here in the very near future. Let's see here. Paris train station evacuated over bomb threat minutes after security fears shuts down airport amid Olympic chaos. Yeah. So that is basically that. So now you're aware. Where did my... There it goes. There we are. Got y'all back on here again. So now y'all guys will be able to be my guest, even when I have my co-host or Dan on here with me. Y'all guys will be able to be on here with me too. Okay. I have y'all guys as a guest. I'll either be doing the Logic Before Authority channel or the Supernatural.Show channel on here, because I can't do both at the same time. All right, let me check comments here. Yeah, Will of Allah. That image had said something like that, right? Yep. Abaddon, a bad Don. We know who that Don is, or at least who's playing that role of Apollyon, Abaddon, a bad Don is, of course, Mr. T. If you go look at his golden palace, you'll find Apollyon paintings, statues of Apollyon. You'll find imagery of white horses riding, all kind of stuff like that. All right in your face, but most people cannot see it. Why Bizzle says, Logic, what's up, bud? Hey, man, I'm just doing my job, spreading the truth, trying to make people aware of what's going on, because there's more big events coming, and the ones that are coming are going to get bigger and bigger until the fall of Babylon and the reset of the entire system. It's just a matter of time, and time is running out, my brothers and sisters. But don't fall into it. Don't follow it. Just be aware. Be smart. Keep yourself separated. The majority of what we're all going to have to deal with is a spiritual war. The actual war will not come to most of us. However, if you're in a big city like New York City, LA, or any big city like that, it's going to get dangerous. I wouldn't want to be in a big city these days at all. Yeah, the last Trump, along with the last president. Remember the book that was written? Even another book called Baron Trump's Great Adventure or something like that. Supposedly written in the 1800s, 1890, something other. And it talks about the last president and describes Trump almost to a T and his political wranglings. And Trump just said the other day, you ain't going to have to vote no more. Y'all guys hear that? You ain't going to have to vote no more. And then he followed up with, I love you, Christians. I'm not a Christian. And shakes his head no while he's saying it. People still arguing. He said, I am a Christian. And the man is the same man that said, I grabbed the women by their... And he told you he was a snake. But you're still blinded by cult of personality, thinking that there's no way possible that you were fooled. But I hate to give you the bad news. It's easier to fool somebody than it is to convince them that they've been fooled. And I'm trying to convince some of you that you've been fooled and that he is going to lead you off the cliff because you're going to follow him. He's the father of the vax, or at least the CV vax, right? Operation Warp Speed. He made it happen. He doesn't get the credit he deserves. He's right about that. He doesn't get the credit he deserves, but he's going to get his credit or his judgment one day, soon enough. All righty, let's see here. Still looking through. There's lots of comments coming in today. I appreciate all of you being here. Just on YouTube, I got a couple hundred. Got about 100 over on Facebook, and another 300 or 400 across other platforms, including Rumble. Appreciate all y'all guys being here today. So, with all that being said, I'm going to leave that as that with the prediction, letting you know that I'm concerned that something's going to go boom, boom in Paris. We haven't had any boom, booms lately much. So, it's ripe for many, many reasons. I could do a whole investigation video on it, but I thought I'd just show you that they're talking about it in clandestine ways and openly in other ways. They're talking about it. So, all right, guys, got one more favor to ask of you, and that is check in with your father. No, not the one that's at the house, the one that's upstairs in the upper room of the house. Check in with him. Ask him how he's doing. Let him know that you love him. Apologize for not being there talking to him very often. And understand that this is a supernatural world and that the way Father created everything, because of what Christ did right after the Last Supper, we have direct access of being able to pray and communicate directly with the Father. Prior to that, only the high priests were allowed to communicate, or someone like Moses. But now we have direct access to communicating with our Father in heaven. So don't feel like a crazy person talking to an empty room, because it's never empty. Father is always here with us, right? Every moment, with every one of us right now. It's been proven to me plenty of times throughout my life, or I wouldn't say it. So with that being said, I love you guys. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here today. And I'm sure I'll be putting out more videos this week, and might do another show on Friday. So until then, we'll see you again here real soon on the Supernatural Show. Okay. Thank you, guys. Love you much. If you're new here, check out all the links down below the videos. There's the Supernatural Show website. Go over there. You can tell your testimony, tell your story about something supernatural that has happened in your life. All you got to do is just go to TheSupernatural.Show and click on Submit Your Story. Okay. And or if you like, you can text your testimonies or your stories to this phone number. Or if you have some really interesting imagery or links that you want me to know about, you can text them to this number, and I will see them. I can't always respond to every single person because sometimes we get a pile that comes in at once, but I do my best, and Miss Kim helps me out. So with that being said, I love you. We now have the Supernatural Show YouTube memberships on both Logical 430 and the Supernatural Show channel. And so trying to use what I can get to support myself so that I don't have to come back to y'all guys as often as I've had to. All right, guys, I love you. We'll talk to you again here real soon. And until then, bye-bye. I love you.